Hey guys, what's going on? Darth Cinema here, coming to you with another video. And guys, I'm just gonna say this right now. I fucking hate this Marvel vs. DC bullshit. Yep. What am I talking about? Well, I'm gonna read you this article right here. It says Jason Momoa, or the new Aquaman for those of you who don't know, fires playful shot in Marvel vs. DC debate. Oh boy. Despite an early story arc dedicated to the development of an Aquaman movie from James Cameron on Entourage, a large chunk of movie lovers still scoffed at the idea of seeing the Aquatic Justice League member on film. While some fans remained optimistic at the possibilities, especially if DC intended to model their Aquaman movie after recent comic book iterations of the character, others simply could not get the scaly orange and green costume, golden locks, and codpiece out of their minds. Then industry insiders began reporting that Game of Thrones and Stargate Atlantis actor Jason Momoa was DC's top pick for the role, indicating that Warner Brothers intended to position Aquaman as a powerful force in their upcoming slate of hero films. However, amidst debate over Momoa's mixed filmography, Conan the Barbarian, the actor remained cagey about his involvement in the Justice League universe, refusing to open up about whether he was on board until after DC made an official announcement. That said, now that Momoa is confirmed for the role, the actor is beginning to embrace his new place in the public comic book spotlight, firing a playful shot in the ongoing debate between Marvel and DC diehards. First off, most superhero fans, young and old, will agree the Marvel vs. DC debate, while entertaining, gets unnecessarily ugly, since successes and failures on both sides drive filmmakers to raise the bar for blockbuster comic book action and storytelling. Still, we all have our favorites, and divisive personal preference is ingrained into entertainment culture. DC versus Marvel, PlayStation versus Xbox, Star Trek versus Star Wars, etc., etc. So it's understandable that fans will engage in debate, but sometimes that battle spills onto DC and Marvel movie and TV talent. Now, after months of playing coy about his Aquaman role, has Momoa tossed himself headfirst into the DC versus Marvel fanboy war, with a comment that, depending on your allegiances, could be considered inflammatory, though the actor is almost certainly just being cheeky. While attending Indiana Comic-Con, Momoa was allegedly approached by a fan who asked, "Can you write down a reason why all these DC haters out there should join our DC universe?" According to reports, the actor wrote his answer on Aquaman's Unite the Seven posters, stating, "Fuck Marvel," above his autograph. And there is an image. I'll link the article to this video so you guys can see the image. Oh my god. It goes on to say, like, he had a similar kind of outburst like when his character was killed off in Game of Thrones. There was failed negotiations between Momoa and Marvel for the role of Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm just gonna say this right now, I'm fucking tired of this. I really am. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go through some categories of the different genres of media where comic books are engraved that I actually like. First, I'm going to start with TV. DC. Arrow and The Flash, hands down, one of the two of the best shows I've ever seen. I'm actually about to watch Arrow in about a few hours, so that I'm really excited for, because both shows have proven to be so much fun to watch, especially The Flash with its amazing writing and brilliant acting. Tom Cavanagh, you are awesome as Harrison Wells, hands down. I lost interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I probably should get into it because they're bringing in the Inhumans, and that will tie into the Inhumans movie, but as of now, the show hasn't really caught my interest. And I'm not even going to talk about Gotham because I fucking hate Gotham. Anyway, so yeah, DC definitely wins the TV for me. Movies, Marvel. Now, the reason I'm saying Marvel is I want to tell you guys, now, I am a DC fan. I was born DC fan. Batman the Animated Series was the very first superhero-oriented show I've ever watched. Batman will always be my favorite superhero. My favorite villain, actually, is Mr. Freeze, because he was the first supervillain I really ever came across as a kid, And even back when I was young, there was something so powerful about that character of Mr. Freeze, and that's still my favorite Batman the Animated Series episode. But I'm getting off topic. I was DC fan growing up, and then I saw the Iron Man movies. I saw Iron Man. That led me into reading the Marvel comics for Iron Man. But getting onto the movies, there's definitely this continuity within the Marvel Cinematic Universe that everything is so tightly knit and weaves so well into each film. Granted, yes, the whole debacle with Edward Norton and the Incredible Hulk movie and the casting change really didn't help. There have been some hiccups in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm not even going to lie. But we can't ignore the facts that Marvel has continuously released hit after hit after hit after hit. Not only financially doing well, but also critically well. As much as I hate the twist in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin, critics loved it. As much as a lot of us didn't like Iron Man 2 because it was just a setup for the Avengers, it was needed to set up Black Widow's character. Why couldn't they do a movie back then? I don't know. But it was needed in the universe. Could it have been done better? Of course. Was it rushed? Yes. But it ultimately served its purpose in doing paving the way for the Avengers and learning more about S.H.I.E.L.D. and Black Widow, or what little we did know. And with all of these hits, now Guardians of the Galaxy marking Marvel's 10th big screen box office hit, there really hasn't been a failure that I would say. There really hasn't been a bomb or one that critics have really reacted to negatively, overwhelmingly negatively. And now let's look at DC. For the sake of argument, I am not looking at The Dark Knight. I am not looking at those films because those are not the films that are trying to be compared. And anyone who's trying to compare it, that's wholly unfair because that's not even part of the DC Cinematic Universe to begin with. If it was, I would compare it, but it's not. But even if I did, The Dark Knight, while overwhelmingly good, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises were kind of split down the middle. There were some people who liked it, and there were quite a few people who didn't. And Dark Knight Rises was certainly evident of that. I know people who hate that movie with a passion, because it just didn't do well. It wasn't as good as The Dark Knight, but really, how can you follow up The Dark Knight? But anyway, when you release the start of your cinematic universe, DC released Man of Steel. I was not a Superman fan to begin with, but I was excited because now I wanted to see the Justice League, and I knew this was a first step toward the Justice League. And I was very disappointed with what I got, and quite a few people were. I'm not going to say that everyone is thinking that Man of Steel was horrible, but I will say that it split everyone right down the middle. Like, I haven't seen a person who's kind of been on the fence about it. There's really either you love it or you hate it. That's really all I've seen for Man of Steel. And there hasn't been something like that for Marvel. And I'm not just saying this, like, when you look at it critically, the critics have been kind of either or for Man of Steel. But Marvel, really, it's mostly been in the positive range. I'm not going to say it's all been positive, but it's mostly been positive. Video games, let's go into DC, I'm sorry. Arkham games, hands down, Rocksteady, love you. That series is fantastic, and that is what Batman is. If you ever want to see a true Batman iteration, it's the Arkham games, and they are fantastic. I'm really looking forward to Arkham Knight and the story, the conclusion to this epic trilogy that Rocksteady has given us. So definitely, video games, DC, love them. And so what have I covered? I covered TV, movies, and video games. I guess cartoons would go in with the TV as well, which again would go to DC because Justice League was an awesome show. You had Batman Beyond. You had the we had Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, Superman the Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series, Static Shock. All of those were fantastic. And Marvel really, there's only one Marvel cartoon that I actually loved. Iron Man Armored Adventures. Guys, look up the Mandarin from Iron Man Armored Adventures, and then look up the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. The one from the kids' cartoon looks infinitely more badass than the one from the movie. Fantastic. And I thought that, seeing an alternate universe of Iron Man where he's actually a teenager was actually pretty cool. And I liked seeing it, and they were able to cross over into other villains, like they were able to bring in Doctor Doom, they were able to bring in Magneto, they took in Jean Grey, Professor Xavier, some really cool characters, and I was really happy with where the 2 seasons went, and I really want a 3rd season to that. Give us a 3rd season, damn it! So, majority-wise, DC is great in the animation front, and their animated movies, I will say, are good, except what they're doing with the New 52. I'm really hesitant about Batman vs. Robin. I will say that. Batman vs. Robin, if they screw up the Court of Owls, I'm done. Because, Throne of Atlantis was meh, and Justice League War was okay, but Throne of Atlantis was really meh to me. And when I heard they were bringing the villains from one of my favorite comic book stories, The Court of Owls, I'm nervous for how that'll go. So, yeah, TV definitely goes to DC. Movies will go to Marvel. Video games, DC. Really, the only thing left is comics. So, I'm going to read off a couple of the volumes I have of different comics. I'm going to read them to you, just the titles anyway, and so you know what exactly I have with me. So I have an equal number of both, I'll tell you that. So I've got I had to pause it for 1 sec, guys, because I had a big pile of these volumes. So I'm just going to go down. They're really not in any particular order, so here we go. I got Flash Volume 1, moving forward from the New 52. I have Justice League Volumes 1, 2, and 3. So that's Origin, The Villain's Journey, and Throne of Atlantis. I have Red Hood and the Outlaws. Yes, I know, that's a horrible comic, but you know what? I love the Red Hood, so sue me. Let me see what else is here. Yeah, Red Hood and the Outlaws Volumes 1 and 2. Flashpoint. Batman, Scott Snyder's Batman from the New 52. Volumes 1, The Court of Owls, and Volume 2, The City of Owls. World's Finest, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Year 1 and Year 2. I also have, let me see, any more DC comics here. I've got Flashpoint featuring Batman. I've got Infinite Crisis, Teen Titans, and that's my DC comics. And I have quite a few comics here. Now, this is Marvel. These are all Marvel related, so I have the 3 Star Wars. I have Marvel's run on Halo called Helljumper. Let me see what else is here. I also have mostly Iron Man stories. I have I have Iron Manual, which was, a tie-in to the film that came out. I have the Essential Iron Man Manual, the Guide to the Armored Avenger. The Invincible Iron Man, which tied into the Fear Itself event that was going on. I have Armor Wars from the Ultimate Universe. And I believe I said Age of Ultron, the comic event. But if I didn't, well, I have that. So yeah, a lot of the comics I have are DC. Quite a few of them are DC. But when you look at it, there really isn't much. The few Marvel books I have, I really like them infinitely better than a lot of the DC books I have. Mostly I got them for curiosity's sake, but to be honest, There's something about the Marvel books, whether they're Avengers storylines or like the Children's Crusade. One of my favorite Avengers tie-ins with the Young Avengers and Hunt for the Scarlet Witch. Fantastic. If you want to know a lot about what happened in the aftermath of House of M, read that. It's called The Children's Crusade. I do not have it with me at this moment. Like, it's probably downstairs in like the abyss, but whatever. But I find myself liking the Marvel comics a lot more than DC. And it's sad because, and I'm judging it mostly because a lot of what I'm reading is New 52. Now, if I was judging it on pre 52, definitely. Pre 52 is fantastic. I do not like the New 52. And a lot of what I've read, there are very few things that I like about the New 52. Like the rogues gaining metahuman powers is fantastic and all that. So, that's my whole thing. Yes, comics, the Marvel comics, especially with Secret Wars bringing it all together, I'm finding myself looking at that a lot more than Convergence. So, since I've been ranting for you about 16 minutes, I'm just going to stop this video right here with this. You don't need to be Marvel or DC. You can be both. I'm not here as a Marvel fanboy. I'm not here as a DC fanboy. I'm here as a comic book fan, and I support all superheroes, regardless of brand, because they're part of my childhood. When I was younger, I didn't care if it was DC or Marvel. I cared for the hero itself. I loved Batman. I love Iron Man. I love the Avengers. I love the Justice League. We can love both without fear of being ridiculed by people. Because at the end of the day, whether they're for DC or Marvel, at the end of the day, they're fighting for the same exact things. So my name is Dar Cinema, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!